Hello, welcome to Trinity Teachings. This isn't a lesson, this is, well, just called references. The reason I'm making this video is, well, books, this is about things for general reference. I talk about in books, about the book video, about books that are good for general referencing and general knowledge. Well, here I want to talk about exactly those books and which ones I suggest more than others and all that. First off, when it comes to just for general reference, on all things, this book here, The Element Encyclopedia of Witchcraft, complete A to Z for the entire magical world. Judith Isles is the author. She also wrote the Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells. Anyway, this book, it's good general reference. One, if you do bibliomancy, is good for that, as well as you can look up certain terms in here. It's basically a very good book, I have to admit. It's good for referencing, and say you're reading a book, and a lot of times they will tell you the meaning of the word, but not always. Right here would be the answer to your question. Basically, Wiccan Dictionary, just to let you know. Anyway, now when it comes to general books on general knowledge, well, let's see, I'm gonna go one by one. This one right here, The Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard, O'Brien Zell Ravenheart. On my video Spectrum, I talk about the spectrum which he uses in this book, and so videos afterwards on the point lessons, I put the color of which of he assigned it in the spectrum next to it, just to talk about it. I mean, he has a very interesting way he looks at things. This book is a good reference guide. However, the one thing I have to say is there are some things it talks about, but only for like a quick glance, I have to admit. And if you want a deeper look into certain things, you'd have to look outside this book. This is more of just a reading like the cover and maybe the back of books, if you know what I'm trying to say. It gives you a general idea of certain things, how maybe a little information on them, how to do some of them maybe. So yeah. Let's see here. If you want an actually in-depth book, I mean, to this book I like, it's got a lot of pictures and illustrations, but then again, I'm visual a lot. But this book here, The Ultimate Book of Shadows for the New Generation, called Solitary Witch by Silver Ravenwolf. A very excellent book. It has a wide variety of subjects in it, and it's got, I mean, some illustrations, but it talks about a multitudes of different things, and it's got actually a good in-depth association with quite a bit of it. So, I mean, it's not just like a little bit of talk here and there about this or that. It's got a wider array, is what I'm looking for, there you go, array of different, well, subjects in it, and it goes in depth on certain things, like, instead of just like in the Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard, it talks about the major arcana, just the major arcana, maybe a little bit on the minor arcana. It talks about the major arcana, the minor arcana, and these separate minor suits on their own, different spreads that you can do with the arcana, with the stuff. So this is a very useful book, I have to admit. And again, that is The Ultimate Book of Shadows for the New Generation, also known as Solitary Witch by Silver Ravenwolf. Very good book. Okay. Also, I mean, those books are good for very, very grand new beginners. Books for those who don't have a concept, who have a bit of a concept of it, but those who don't have a concept whatsoever. This book here, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft, I have to admit, by Denise Zimmerman and Catherine A. Gleason. I have to admit, this is a good book for those who don't have any concept of it whatsoever, mainly just due to the fact that it's unbiased. It's kind of like the videos I'm making now. It gives you a general definition, talk about each of the different things. It tells you how certain things work, about the different things. It's basically a good learning book because it doesn't go into. Because I mean, there's several different practices of Wicca and types of it. This doesn't go into any of those. It just goes into talking about the general overview of it all, and ones that apply to all of them. It may wane towards some different directions in some cases, but it's good for those who have no concept whatsoever of this, or maybe have a teeny bit but need more growing. This would be a good book for them. Let's see. This next book I'm going to suggest. I mean, it's a good book. I wouldn't suggest it for. Oops, sorry, I hit the camera. I wouldn't suggest it for one's wet behind the ears. Mainly due to the fact that I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm just saying his view of it is extremely different, but than a lot of books I've read. So again, I keep bumping the stupid computer stand and knocking things over. Anyway, I hate when things keep getting caught and everything. There. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. But this book is called A Wiccan Bible by A.J. Drew. I'd have to say his concept in this book is really different than a lot of concepts I've read. I mean, I admit it's not a bad concept in it. In fact, actually, see, I'm sorry, you've all heard of the Triple Goddess. The Triple God, I honestly never heard of him until this book. Master, Father, Sage is the Triple God. I honestly have no clue why some of the books that, and again, this is the only book I think I've actually read that talks about Triple God. So, it's an interesting subject. So, I mean, it's an interesting subject, this book. I do suggest it as a reading, but it's not good for general reference, maybe. If you are I mean, you can read it, and you might be comfortable with his view on the, on his view, but it's a different, view on it, so I suggest you read it, and maybe take it with a grain of salt. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. Here's a book which I would actually recommend for a beginner, maybe. The Wickening, a step-by-step guide to becoming a modern witch by Sister Moon. Very good book. I mean, I've been at this for a couple of years, and I actually learned quite a bit from this book. It's got a good referencing material in it. It's got lists of different magical herbs and spell properties, which is actually good for if you ever want to go into wart cutting and all that. It's got, what else can I say? It's very good all around. It talks to you about creating your altar, and in the end, I'm just going to say it's a great book for beginners, and it's also, I would have to say, really great when it comes to oh, I lost my train of thought again. It's also great when it becomes for those who maybe even if you don't have a concept of it, this would actually be good too. Besides the Idiot's Guide, but yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Then I got a couple more books. These two, I've actually read a bit of them, but I haven't read the entire book. Honestly, I have to admit. The Craft, A Witch's Book of Shadows by Dorothy Morrison, and Witchcraft Theory and Practice by Lady Angelis. Both interesting. I've read a bit of them. I have to admit, I mean, they talk about good things, but I wouldn't probably suggest them directly for a brand new one, but I haven't read a bunch of them, so if you have your own opinions, feel free to leave comments on that. Over here. Oh. Okay, this book is actually 3 books in one. And actually, if you're a beginner, I do suggest this. Why? Because it's got 3 books in one. The first book is Wicca, a solitary practitioner's guide to witchcraft. Or a guide for the solitary practitioner. I do believe it's the full name. Yeah, a guide for the solitary practitioner. Then it's got Living Wicca, for the guide for the solitary practitioner. And then the complete book of incense, oils, and brews. All by Scott Cunningham, I might Honestly, don't know where you would find this book all three together. I actually got this from a friend I knew, so I have to admit, it's interesting book that it's all three together. Here's Living Wicca by itself. The Wicca Guide for Solitary Practitioner is the book I'm actually suggesting to you. Most people are solitary practitioners anyway, but you might meet other people, but it's up to you. But it's a good guide for a solitary practitioner, and for those who are beginning, I really do think so. And then Living Wicca furthers your teachings and learning, and teaches you how to use Wicca in, well, your everyday life, really. And then the complete book of oils, incense, and oils and brews. Well, if you're into potion making, incense making, and all that, it's a good book. They're helpful. Plus, I mean, it's interesting to learn about in general, so I suggest reading it. If not, at least Wicca, Guide for Solitary Practitioner, and Living Wicca, both by Scott Cunningham, I might add, would be good books to read. Wicca, Guide for Solitary Practitioner first, then Living Wicca. So yeah, I suggest that. Let's see here. I do believe that's actually all I have at the moment. That I have in general. I actually do have. A Witch's Bible is another book I know of. I've looked into it a bit. It would be a good reference material also, so I suggest it also. Oh, what else? That's about all I can think of, honestly, when it comes to good books for good reference material and for beginners and that. So, well, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned. Comments, questions, suggestions, all that down in the comment bar. And until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and